I'll be talking about the issue of wedding. Wedding. And of course, you know that there's difference between wedding and marriage. Wedding is that day, and then marriage starts. But you will observe that we put so much energy on wedding that we don't even put anything to prepare for marriage. And that's one of those things where some of the problems of marriage starts. But that is not where I'm going this morning. I want to address the issue of if you want to get married in the church, what do we do? What are the steps? Because sometimes until it becomes your turn, I've observed that people don't even know what to do until it's their turn. It's just like a burial. When you see people preparing for burial, you will never know what to do until it's your turn. So we discovered that we have to be saying this is the next thing for everybody, because it's not something we do every day. So wedding concerns all of us, those of us who are already married, and of course our children that we look forward to get married, and of course young people who are in the church this morning. If you want to do wedding, what are some of the things that you need to know about wedding? One of the greatest honor our children can give to us in this life is for them to give us an honorable wedding. Is that not so? For parents, it's for them to give us an honorable wedding. And even when we are retired, we don't care to the extent it will go. Thank God for parents. Because in our own culture, it is the parents who do wedding for the children. It's part of our responsibility. And you will observe that God always provides. God always do what? Or does what? He provides. So young people who are in the church, one of the greatest honor you can give to your parents is to be married honorably. Honorably. But we discover that modernization is challenging many things now. It's challenging good cultural values. It's challenging scriptural values. Those two things are being challenged because of many things that are happening, particularly this issue of traveling is changing many things. But as a church, we have a responsibility to follow the scriptures. Particularly this church, Uritamefa Baptist Church, is one of the convention churches that people look up to do things right. To do things right. I pray that one day we will not become too civilized, too modernized, that we throw overboard those things that our fathers have preserved. So I do tell people, in a way, we are still conservative, though we try to evolve. But there are some values we cannot afford to throw away. Many of us will not know that there are so many things that are done in the convention, if a number of things that are done in the convention that started from this church. Many things. I want to thank God for our fathers, founding fathers of this church, deacons, deaconesses, who had been here for an upward of many, many years. Like I said, in 2027, this church will be 70 years. So every day, I thank God for the fathers, the mothers, deacons, deaconesses, who have fought to preserve some things. And as a church, we cannot afford to lose it. We cannot afford to miss it. So that when Jesus will come, I always have the firm belief that he is one of the churches we meet here. when he will come, and that a large percentage of us will go to heaven. So I want to talk particularly about wedding because if we are not careful, we can offend ourselves. And the offender will be the pastor. What I'm sharing this morning, I've run it with the church council for several months. And of course, the sharing will be what we practice when somebody wants to get married from the beginning to the end. That will be the first part of my presentation. Then the second part will be the report of the ministerial committee of the Nigeria Baptist Convention. I will just read it the way it is in the book of reports. So if you have a copy, just go through it. Then lastly, we pray for our homes. We pray for the singles. We pray for our children. And I believe God will answer us. When we talk about marriage or wedding, we are talking about the marriage of he man with a she woman. Because these days, definitions are evolving. Is that not so? That's why we read the passage that we have read. He man and she woman. Kojubelo. That's what we believe. Anything outside that is unbiblical, is unchristian, and equally unbaptistic. So one man who is a he and one woman who is a she coming together in marriage. That's what we believe as Christians and as a denomination. So let me go to the first part. Now, marriage, well, many of the things we are going to see here, I'm not the original author of so many of them. I just amended as it suited our own church. A brother and a friend of mine, a classmate of mine, produced the content, most of the content. The picture and whatever you are going to see was added by Mankind, Pastor Mankind, just to make it presentable. Reverend Emmanuel Adewara is a classmate of my First Baptist Church, Kuba, Abuja. I mean, he was commissioned to talk about this because it was causing confusion too. So, but I've amended a certain area, what we practice as a church. So let me say that. Marriage is established by God and valued by Him. In the same vein, it is expected to be valued by man. Then the only doorway to marriage is what? Wedding. The ceremony that ushers us into that holy estate. And if you look at the document of the Marriage Act or whatever on the portal of Ministry of Internal Affairs, you are going to see all of these things. They are clearly stated. They respected every tribe. They respected every religion. If you read it, you are going to see it. For several reasons, issues surrounding wedding have become so complicated and confusing that many people begin to ask and raise questions. When people ask questions, they need more explanations. When they raise questions, they are challenging the status quo. And then we must find an answer to it, particularly from the Bible. It is to this effect that we consider it proper to address some of the basic issues and matters arising that have to do with weddings and marriage, particularly as it relates to church and registry weddings. One of the things, or let me say a few factors that necessitate registry weddings when we go to the court to do marriages, if something unusual had happened, Abi, and such a matter is not presentable in the church, people will go to the registry. If families are having issue, you will not marry this one, I will marry this one. They go to the registry. And these days, people are going to the registry because of traveling, which I am not against. But the way I'm going to present is that whatever we are doing, we are going to do in the registry, if you carry the church along, we will still do the same thing. And you will get results. So I'm not against it. I'm not saying, don't say, Pastor said people should not travel. No. We just want to clear the confusion that you can do your wedding in the church and still travel. So those are the things we want to clear. There are different types of wedding in Nigeria recognized by the law. The first one is native law and custom. Native law and custom. That's what we call traditional wedding. What are the elements? When the two families come together, the bride price will be paid. Then there will be consent of the two families and then the couples themselves. Then there will be witnesses, family members. That is all. That is all. Traditional wedding. Then, many times it does not go with certificate. But I found out that if somebody wants to do traditional wedding, if you go to the customary court, they will give you certificate. So, generally, it's for those, maybe those who want to stay at that level for many reasons. I don't know why. But we are talking as a church. So, traditional wedding is recognized by the law. But the danger there is the paper, the certificate. If it's not available, it could cause a problem. We may not know those things are important until when we talk about inheritance and will and things like that. That's where we now know that it is very good to put a legal seal on every wedding that is conducted. So it is acceptable. As Christians, let me just say quickly that as Christians, you are going to see that we combine the two. We combine the two. Because we want the consent of the two families before those who are going to get married come to the church. We combine the two. The second one recognized by the law is Sharia and Islamic wedding. It is recognized by the law. Then the third one is the statutory wedding, divided into two, which is registry wedding, then church and Christian wedding. This one is historical. It was the British that introduced statutory wedding, and one of the vehicles by which they drove that was Christianity. And of course, Christians always, many times, we want to do things that are right, that are legal. So you see the two of them side by side. So you see registry wedding, then church and Christian wedding. So as Christians, from the picture I've painted here, you will discover that we try to combine three. The first one, traditional wedding, then the registry. I will not use the word wedding now because it has a technical sense. Then the church or Christian wedding. Now that we have become Christians, we want God to have a hand in whatever we do. So registry wedding. Let me quickly talk about registry wedding. This wedding takes place in the registry under the Marriage Act, Cap M6, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004. The wedding is conducted by the registrar who administers the oath. He or she may be a Muslim or a Christian or even an idol worshiper. You cannot detect that. Whoever the government has appointed is the one that will join you. And the person can even be a free thinker. He's a government official. The wedding is usually conducted during weekdays or weekends. It is usually multiple, as there are several people on the queue for such. A few years ago, the couple are no more here with us. As a matter of fact, the young man died. I followed Reverend back to the registry. That's where they got married and whatever. And he invited Reverend, and we went there as witnesses. And then you have to be on the queue. There are so many people, families waiting outside. So they just service you and you go. Service you and you go. If I remember very well, the registrar was a Muslim with turban, a lady, who conducted it. And they have done in such a way that after the exchange of vow and whatever, You have to do Thanksgiving. So they did it in such a way that there's a way you will move. So there are at least two points where all of us we are going to give offering. Èmi ò mọ nǹkan tó kọ ìjọba pẹ̀lú offering. All right. And when you go to such a place, that is what you will experience. You will experience indignity. You will experience indignity. So, the husband and the wife started, they were coming. There's one offering box for the registrar and his team, and our team. Then they have employed one-man band with keyboard, amplifier, microphone. He was using one hand to play keyboard, singing. In fact, he did not allow his offering box to stand. The left hand and right hand, he was holding the offering box. So as we are dancing and dancing, and we dropped the one for the court, and you cannot avoid him. You have to drop his offering. And then we danced out. No prayer, nothing. And then we went out and we were taking pictures. Then, as from that point, you are married, whether you like it or not. Is it not true? Then we have the Christian wedding. This wedding, otherwise known as Christian wedding, is also referred to as the white wedding. The phrase white weddings has generated several issues in the recent times because of the varied interpretations stemming from it. By white, it is used as opposed to black or African. So among many concerned Africans, no African has a reason to do a white wedding because it is the white man's traditional wedding. But when we refer to Christian wedding, all right, the white wedding is called white wedding because it is the kind of wedding mentioned in the Bible. So in our own interpretation, it's not because it's a white man's wedding. It has a biblical basis. That is a wedding that you are conducting in pureness, in holiness. And you know that righteousness, holiness is associated with white. That's why we call it what? White wedding. So Revelation 19:6-8. That's what we are referring to when we say white wedding. So the wedding is conducted in the church with the marriage oath administered by the minister who must have been licensed to do so. In the Baptist, such a person must have been ordained. It is important to note that the certificate issued at the registry is the same issued in the church, particularly a church that is registered and licensed like ours. Those who have gotten married here, we didn't print a separate certificate. We bought it from the registry. Either one is okay. So if you have gone to do proper wedding like I've described, a registrar has joined you together already. You cannot come to the church and say, oh, we want to do another wedding. Many questions will arise. You have collected one government certificate. We are going to give you another government certificate. That's number one. Number two, which of these days are we going to refer to as your wedding date? The one you did in the local government or the one we did in the church? Photographers will be there, photographers will be here. In case of litigation, which of the photographs are you going to present? Those are the complications. So, when you choose to wed in the registry, the only business you have with the church is to come for Thanksgiving at the church without all the formality of solemnization. If you want a church solemnization, then you don't need to do a registry wedding. For it is the same kind of certificate that you'll be given there that will be given here. Many people have done their wedding here, and by God's grace, it is that same certificate they used at the embassy, and it was recognized. It was recognized. So, then, if all you want to do is just traditional marriage, you can go home with your spouse from the venue of the traditional wedding from that day on. If you don't want to come to the church or wherever. But it is good that you carry you belong to a community of faith. Why will you do something that is so sacred? You can carry the pastors along. I will still talk about moderacy. What many people run away from, I will talk about it by God's grace. Because there's no way you have been in the church for 5, 10 years. We have always known you as a single brother, a single sister. And suddenly we see a woman following you every Sunday in the same attire. And before you know it, something has happened. And you did not tell us why and how and when. And you want us to recognize you. When you belong to a community as this, what is it that we are hiding? Even if a mistake has been made, there are corrective measures. Abi? There are corrective measures. If you do a mistake, the wedding is nothing. It is the marriage that is important. Even if a mistake has been made, let us know. You may be punished, but it is going to be corrective. I remember we did that at least about 4 or 5 in our former church, Liberty Baptist Church, Abba. Joy Ikechebelu will be a witness. It's either after traditional wedding, just this young woman, they have packed together and living together. The church said no. Or somebody have gotten pregnant. The church said no. Many times they were punished. They were disciplined. But one thing I remember that we did very well, myself and my wife, is that even after pronouncing the discipline from the pulpit, we don't leave those couples. We go behind the scene to rehabilitate them. And by the time we left, they were the most useful in the church. They acted in ignorance. So if a mistake had been made, that's not the end of life. Everybody has a story. And the church is a place where we help people to discover God, not to throw them away. So when you say it is traditional wedding that you want to do, carry us along. Let the pastor or the deacons be able to say, we know about this. We know about this. All right, let me move on because of time. If, however, you intend to have a registry or church wedding, after the church wedding, you are adjudged not to be married yet, but betrothed until you have been solemnized at the registry of the church. If you have done traditional wedding and you belong to a community of faith, when we do traditional wedding, we look at it as a betrothal, that the two of you are now engaged. Are you following me? All right. Now, to solemnize it, or let's say to legalize it, the church, or if you prefer the registry, has to be involved. So what we practice as a denomination, as a church, denomination is a church, I will still explain, but I don't want to get us confused. So why do we advocate a church wedding for Christians? Number one, it is an event done in the atmosphere of deep spirituality, worship, and sacredness. You agree with me? Do you agree with me that is an event that is done in an atmosphere of deep spirituality, worship, and sacredness? The one I witnessed in the court, some of these elements are missing. And of course, it's important again, the spiritual cover over the person that joins you together. Abi? But that's the foundation of your marriage. Is important. Who is the person that is doing it? Number two, it is a wedding done within the confines of your spiritual family, the church. That's another advantage. It is relatively cheaper compared to the registry, as the church has borne most of the statutory expenses except for the marriage certificate. The church does not bill you. The church does not bill you. As a matter of fact, we roll out all the resources of the church, financial, human, to support your wedding. I know somebody will ask a question, but I will answer that question. When you say, Church wedding, do you think it is cheaper? I will explain. It depends on the family. And I will explain. All right? Then, it accords you the opportunity of using your marriage, your event, to preach to others. Organizing an event for Jesus when you get married in the church. Then, it recognizes God's divine plan for marriage as the initiator and guidance of marriage. It instills in the couple and others the understanding that marriage for us as believers is not just a civil contract, but a sacred covenant. Then it accords you a measure of freedom on how your wedding will be, the choice of music, the officiating minister, and the time. When they give you an appointment in the court, you must keep it. Then choice of music is also important. Very, very important. It gives you the space and beauty you need for a lasting memory. The space in the registry is usually limited, as many couples are put together with only few representatives of the family allowed in. So what is the relationship between the church and the registry? What is the relationship between the church and the registry? Doing a church wedding does not necessarily mean you have nothing to do with the registry. As a matter of fact, if we conduct a wedding here in the church without any reverence to the registry, we have only acted drama, because it is not recognized by the law. It's not recognized by the law. No matter, even let the Pope come and join them together. If we don't refer to the registry for certain things, it is illegal. And you know that we are bound under the law to, the government keeps records of wedding, keeps record of death, keep records of birth, and so many things. So that's where some of these things become important. So what do we practice in the church here? Number one, you must discuss your plan of wedding with your pastor at least 3 months ahead. At least give us 3 months because of other church programs. We now look for a convenient Saturday or any day of the week, as the case is now, when the church will be free. Then that's where we put the wedding. We must discuss. But let me say also that these days, I don't know why, but my observation now is that you will discover that the proposal, agreements between a intending couple and parents, many of them are done now outside the pastor. The only thing we hear and where our job starts now is, Pastor, ọmọ yín fẹ́ wed o, ẹ jẹ́ bá wa wo calendar. And then we look at the calendar and we book a date. Well, you may not know, because at that point, we assume that the journey, before you can come and book a date on the calendar, the journey has been far. You have agreed that your son or daughter is suitable, and whatever you have prayed, you have received, you have seen vision, revelation, whatever, and agreed. We only pick it from that point. So much that even during the course of counseling, when we observe some things, we are careful, so that they will not say, it is the pastor that scattered that marriage. It is the pastor. Because you don't know. And some of them, they will come, when you are asking, the funness is that they will not, in the course of counseling, your spouse you are going to marry, is he born again? Why are you laughing? I don't know. So he has never narrated his salvation experience. Yeah, we have not talked about it. Meanwhile, we have picked a date. We have picked a date. So the responsibility, the way it is operating now, the responsibility of who your son or your daughter will marry is, actually it's supposed to be that of the family. But I want to say here that at the beginning, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know many things. But let me also say, there are a few young people, youth in the church that we interact with, and they interact with us. Even when they want to propose, somebody has proposed, and whatever we call them, they open up. And we are able to say a few things and whatever, and leave them to take their final decision. I don't believe in matchmaking. I wish God has given me that power to matchmake. Nobody will remain unmarried in this church. But I'm afraid, because even when you see a man or a woman by yourself, go and say, this is the will of God. Say, are you sure? In fact, God sat down like this. I saw him, kuro. The 24 elders were sitting down around him when he told me that this is my wife. You are the one that will make the final decision. But we are able to guide. Let me say, young people, you are not, don't walk alone. There are enough counselors in this church. It's not only the pastor. There are enough people you can walk with. We are what we are today because people worked with us. People work with us. People who are interested in our lives, or people we say, I can talk to this man, this deacon, this mommy. People you have worked. This church, there are too many that you can walk up to and share your burdens. Don't walk alone. Don't think you know it too much. What is the secret that you are keeping? There's no secret anywhere. In fact, the devil likes secrecy, because it will finish you from inside. But when you have an accountability partner, the devil cannot just pick you like an handkerchief. So don't tell me that all these babas and mamas in this church, they are so bad that God has not led you to one who can guide you. There are too many that God has helped. So it's not only the pastor. So it's a remark, so that we know that when things happen, you know, say, Pastor, I want money to be there. I've seen some years ago when I was with Reverend, there was a wedding we were going to do. The young couple came here. I think it was the final counseling on a Thursday. And then they sat down, each pressing phone. I was inside my office. We have not remodeled the office then. And then suddenly we heard noise. What happened? We ran there. Hey, the girl was saying, hey, even where we sat down, where she was chatting with her girlfriend. She was there with his girlfriend. So Reverend had to call them inside. So I don't know what they said. We did the wedding on Saturday. Because if the pastor have said, I'm putting all this wedding, or call the parents, we are not doing this wedding, what you will say is that they will have run the wedding, if not the pastor. Pastor who did not know when they started. So, God will help us. I'm not saying that the pastor is the repository of all knowledge about marriage. There are other people that God has endowed in this church. When you look well, you will see well. And I'm sure you will not miss it. So let me go back. That you must discuss your wedding plan at least 3 months. It's either you come or the parents come, and then we fix a date. And sometimes we do 2 or 3 weddings in a day. We realize it, just do it and go. Then, after the date has been agreed upon, the following issues will be discussed with the pastor. And number 1 is the date of filing of notice at the registry. And this should be at least 21 working days before the day of wedding. The journey starts from the pastor's office. So, whoever is going to do that, you have to come here, because there's a form we fill for you. Put your pictures that you will take to the registry. The moment you start from the registry, they assume that you want to do court wedding. And then it will be another set of expenses. By God's grace, the moment they see our form, the signature, and the stamp of the church, they know your intention. And then they put it there. Then after 21 days, they will ask you to come and collect what we call license, stamped by the government, which we put as a record in our file. So that license gives us a go-ahead to conduct the wedding, which we keep. Now, and of course, you will notice that these days we have removed the portion after declaration, exhortation, and charge that says if anybody has any reason, we have removed it. When I was in Aba, I removed it because to me it does not make sense. The reason why you have gone to the registry, number one, is to notify the government. And normal thing, like if I understand how they do it, then there's supposed to be a notice board in the court. Your picture will be there. All right? So that when somebody goes to the court one day and saw, Lazarus wants to marry me over there to anybody. Atalaya, he has snatched my girlfriend. And he would just walk into the office and say, this boy cannot marry this girl. They say, what's your reason? She's my girlfriend and whatever. And they will listen. But after we have filed a notice 21 days, nobody went there to complain. The government have said, go ahead. Why should we come to church on a Saturday and say, if anybody has any reason? Holy Ghost. I hope you understand. It does not make sense. That's why we have removed it. If you want to fight, where do you start your fight? Go to the registry. I don't know what you are looking at when they snatch your girlfriend. All right. So after 21 days, they go, bring the license, and then we go on. Then we discuss arrangement for counseling. Arrangement for counseling. Sometimes we do online, sometimes we do on site. And counseling is essential because it provides information. Counseling does not mean that the pastor knows it all. But the counselor will provide lots and lots of information. We raise issues. We raise issues. And when we raise issues, we allow the young man to talk. We allow the young woman to talk. We share something that if they discuss within themselves, they will fight. But because the counselor is sitting down, they cannot fight. So those are the things you need information so that when things begin to happen inside the marriage, you now say, I've missed it. It may be that you are not informed, that you are not the first that is experiencing it. Others have experienced it and they survived. So that's the importance of counseling. Then we discuss the extent of the involvement of the church and ministry units that may be needed on Saturday or Thursday. This has implications for entertainment. This is where I'm going. People are afraid. Usually when we do notification for wedding, the way it is practiced there, we do it 2 Sundays, if you have noticed. The first Sunday, then the last Sunday, if the people are getting married around, we show them to the church. But the media are now helping us. Even when they are not around, we show their pictures. If it is for burial, notice we put it only in the bulletin, only once, so that there won't be any confusion. So, some people are afraid to put their wedding announcement in the bulletin because, everybody will come. Yeah, the fear is okay because fingers are not equal. Fingers are not equal. But for people who feels taking care of family members and church staff is not a burden, they can go ahead. And I want to say that if you want to get married and you don't want to involve the church, there are ways we can do it. There are ways we can do it. Because the crowd, you are the one that will pull the crowd. But we have seen people who will paint the picture of, pastor, very good. But ever they be traditional wedding. Ever they reception. So, church. Because at the end of the day, it is the church, it is inside the church you are going to practice your marriage. Abi? It is essential that church members know that you are married and you are married properly. That you are not a kidnapper. So, but we can walk around it if you don't want crowd. It depends on you. We have done weddings or even, wedding in particular. They will tell me, we give them the full compliment of the choir. They say, that number is too much. All I would do is call the music director, please, we need only 20 people. Ushers, 3 people. Media and worship team, 5 people. We will scale it down. We have done it. And if somebody has come to say, pastor, you don't have anything, I say, I agree with you. We will tell them, please, we are doing this wedding, but no food will be served. It does not mean that your wedding or your marriage will not be successful. Kosile Nini is coming tomorrow. It's coming tomorrow. So we need to discuss all of those. We scale it down to whatever you want. But don't surprise me. On the day of wedding, we now see more than the number you have told me that will come. Even if I don't ask, I will say, maybe you said. We will still do the wedding, no. And those are the places where we find ourselves. And like I always say, the people who help us, so many people help us to conduct ceremonies, wedding, burial, so many people. The choir, the ushers, the office staff. As a matter of fact, from day one that you said you have an event, we have started working. In the office, the drivers will take papers around. The security will do a lot of things. So the only way we can say thank you on that Saturday or Friday is just that small pack of food. All right? Last Friday, when we had burial, the moment the choirs finished singing, some of them ran out because they have to return to the office. Can you pay for that transport? That's why I said I want to discourage people who give caterers job to do, and the caterer will now enter the church on Saturday. He or she is counting the number of people that sang. Assuming you count 10, it was not 10 that rehearsed. Are you hearing me? If you don't want to give us food, don't give us. We will understand. We will. But let us treat ourselves with some dignity. Let's treat ourselves with some dignity. We will know that it's not available, and we will know. And we're praying. But let's treat ourselves with some dignity. We discuss the wedding outfit for the bride, the groom, and their friends. Because, like I said, we are still conservative. As a matter of fact, on a Thursday where we are going to do rehearsal, we inspect the bride's wedding gown. And then those who are going to be the friends of the bride, they are the culprits. There was one we did some years ago here, and the wife already did well and whatever. By the time the friends of the bride came, all these places was beer and whatever. Then the ushers just locked them out. By the time we started this, so they already have scarf in their bag they want to use to cover because we locked them out. They now cover, say, so you know how to dress before. But again, it tells me, if somebody says, I'm a Christian and whatever, and you come in with masquerades, it tells me the kind of friends that you are keeping, that will follow you on your wedding day. So let's take note of all of this. We are still We want to maintain our moderacy by God's grace. Then officiating ministers, we discuss. There are people who want to do a function. They want one minister to come from Kano. They want another from Jos. They want another from Abuja. They want another from Lagos. And we talk about honorarium here. And by the time you are going to give us envelope, inside the envelope is 2,000, 5,000. That minister, is it 2,000 that he used to fly in? We don't dictate honorarium. Many people have asked me, Pastor, give me an idea. I say, I don't have an idea. I don't have and you don't have to have honorarium. You don't. Get me right. You don't have to have honorarium. By God's grace. And we will know. But I feel that if you are bringing a minister from Lagos, you are bringing one from Abuja, whatever you are going to put in the envelope for us to give him should be reasonable. Because we are the one that will hand it over. Abi? For us and the deacons and the rest, we don't need it. And we don't dictate to. If anybody have said, Pastor have said, this is how much you must put in the envelope, please speak out. We don't. You don't have to give. But when we want to give, let us be reasonable. Because it could be there are many times we have gone deep our hands in the offering we collected that day to give to ministers who came. But by the time we see what is here, we decide this one is not dignifying enough for our church. So we go into the church offering and give something that is good to that minister so that the church will not be embarrassed. The Lord will lead us. Then the time of wedding, the program booklet, and rehearsal. These are important. The time is important. When I see people who come late on their wedding day, I see a young couple who are going nowhere. They are not going anywhere. Because I believe that if a court has given them the same appointment or embassy, they will not go there late. On your wedding day, you are 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours late to your wedding. Yes. If you have kept the same appointment with the governor or a judge or in the embassy, you dare not. You dare not. But because it is the church, Abi, there's nothing we can do. There are things we can do. We will start the wedding before you come. So, and that means you don't deserve the honor of procession. I always tell them the dangers on the wedding day is that you are going to have your wedding here. You went and stay at Ido after Ologweru, and you are coming. Then, Ministry of Painters, you know them. They just arrived that morning, arrest you and begin, kotito, and pedicure, manicure, edicure, cure. So, if you don't, you remember, the journey did not start with them, Abi. You have been coming, we have been talking, we have been using our time to counsel you. So, some people just come that day and change everything we have planned. Does it make sense? Then, the photographers, that's the money they want to do photo shoot. Those people that as soon as we finish the wedding, they bid you bye-bye. The woman or the man you have carried becomes your... They are gone. They are looking for the next victim. Are you following me? The next what? Victim. So, we need to agree on the time. If you say it is 1 p.m., 1 p.m. will be 1 p.m., no problem. Because after that wedding, we have so many things to do. And by God's grace, we struggle with time. We try to keep time. If you notice our wake keep to 1 hour, 1.5 hours, we are done. We are done. Let everybody go home on time. Even we, those who are pastors, we know that after that program, other things are waiting. We cannot afford to waste so much time. So, those are the things that we do. The only thing I didn't put here is the medical test. We discuss medical test. When somebody, I even expect when somebody has proposed to you or you are proposing to somebody, the first question is, are you born again or not? Abi? Number 2, the second question is what? These days, our eyes are seeing many things. Our eyes are seeing many things. They won't. So, but when you come, you are going to do blood group, genotype, hepatitis, your HIV status, and we have a designated hospital. It is not just hospital. And when it is 2 weeks to that wedding, the bride will come for pregnancy test so that we are sure that we are not, nobody is playing on us. So let me now just read the matter of this double wedding. What has been happening is that when people, particularly when people want to travel, they go to Ikoyi or any other registry, they are already legally married. They will just inform us that, pastor, I've a wed, I've a pastor, or money fair wed, and then we pick the date and things like that. And by the time we're not saying, when are you going to go to register? We already have a certificate. You are already married. But the parents are expecting the full complement. And at that point, the pastor can be in trouble. And that's why the convention has looked at this matter, and I'm going to read it the way it is here, so that we all know. Because the problem is that if you are legally married somewhere, I must confess, we have been doing it. But it was just happening. And we just said, look, we are compromising our conscience. Some people have gotten married. We are now organizing another wedding, full complement. And we sign here in front of the church, knowing that what we are signing there is not the actual marriage register. And we present Ikoyi register. For me as a pastor, it has been worrying my conscience. And the whole church will think that we are doing what is right. There's nothing wrong with it. But the only thing that we cannot eat our cake and do what? That we must be able to get that one clear. So, let me just read to us. The matter of double wedding. Some couples married at government marriage registries and still request in their churches for a church wedding, thus creating a legal complication of wedding twice with 2 wedding certificates carrying different dates. The ministerial board reports as follows. Weddings conducted in the church are recognized by law, and the wedding certificates issued are legally sufficient for all purposes because the certificates are issued by the government. Thus, couples intending to wed in Baptist churches do not need to wed at the marriage registry for their marriage to be valid. Pastors and churches should assist couples in organizing modest, cost-friendly wedding ceremonies. I have commented on that. Once we are carried along, the Lord will help us. Couples whose weddings have already been contracted and certified at the marriage registry should only come to the church for marriage blessing. At the marriage blessing procession, let's take note of this, the bride and the groom should enter together. Because as they were coming, they are already married. There's no need for parental handover. So the question of who gave it does not arise again. Right? So, and consent, the wedding has taken place, it will not arise. The couple may wear any attire, including a white wedding gown, but of course, the woman does not have to be veiled. Because what are we veiling again? F, there should be no exchange of rings, since that has already taken place at the marriage, because the registrar will ask for rings. They will ask for rings and they will do it. And the vows may be exchanged using a modified marriage litany, that means marriage program, which recognizes the fact that the wedding has taken place previously. Then a second marriage certificate should not be issued except the Nigeria Baptist Convention marriage certificate. Now, the convention has printed one, we don't use it. We have not been using it because there was no need until the recent development. But even when we come for marriage blessing and say, we want to sign the church, we have to sign the church, and we give you marriage certificate of the convention, which date are we going to write? Abi? That day or the former date? So it creates another set of problems. But of course, you know that the marriage of the convention is really not legal. I'm not sure it is admissible in the court of law. But at least to show that where you came for Thanksgiving or marriage blessing in the church, we can issue that if it's going to be psychologically rewarding. The details of the order of service for the marriage blessing should be left to the discretion of the church pastor. Then J, the Nigeria Baptist Convention certificate should be promoted for such occasions. The MBC marriage certificate provides an in-house recognition that the couple wedded in a Baptist church. K, a couple whose wedding is conducted by the church should be issued the government-approved certificate and may also be given the MBC marriage certificate if requested for by the couple. Parents of couples to be should refrain from putting undue pressure on pastors regarding wedding programs, especially if the new couple has already opted for a registry wedding. In cases where the bride is pregnant before the registry wedding or church wedding, the couple will not be eligible for a full marriage blessing service described above. The blessing or marriage regularization for such couples should be done as part of a Sunday's worship service or in the pastor's office. But like I said, it does not mean that their wedding or their marriage will not be successful. So, as we conclude, don't patronize the local government registry if there is no unusual reason. If there's no what? Unusual reason. We are not condemning, we are talking as Christians. Then not all churches are registered. Make proper inquiry before you choose a church as a venue for your wedding. Not all churches are registered with the government. If your intended church is not registered, ask your pastor to contact another Baptist church that is registered for that favor. Then in the absence of any, get wedded at the registry and come to the church for Thanksgiving. God will bless our homes. In Jesus' name. All right. Thank you very much for your time. That is, so I don't know if there are, we have stated all of this because just like we sang the first hymn, who is on the Lord's side, we have a responsibility to be on the Lord's side. Even because the world is questioning our value systems. They are questioning our belief system. In everything that we do, in wedding, in burial, in fashion, they are questioning our values. And as Christians, we must stand for our values. Anything that does not have its origin in God, we must stand against it. And as a church, we will keep that in view. So I don't know if there are questions. We have ushers. I don't know if papers are available. We'll have said, or if there are questions, we can quickly come to the front. We attend it, and then if there are questions, anybody who has a question, maybe you come to the front. Or if you're able to get a paper on time, we just, but if not, we pray, and then the service will continue. Any hand? No question is wrong. So no question is wrong. If I cannot answer it, there are convention, there are fathers in the Lord in the church who will be able to help us to answer some of the questions. All right. The first question here says, is there a structured marriage counseling sessions for the intending couple in the church? Yes. We do that as pastors. We have what we use, though it is not officially published. So, can you elaborate more on MBC certificates? Well, Reverend Dr. Adigun, come. I know the convention has a certificate printed. We don't use it.
Thank you, sir. The observation of the pastor concerning the wedding certificate is right, because it is expected of you as a Christian and a law-abiding citizen to do a legal wedding before you have a home. But the certificate we are producing in the office is actually meeting need in the north, because some of them, because of their level of education and their own environment, they just get wedded and they come to church for Thanksgiving, and so they celebrate that certificate. But recently now we are reviewing that. By the grace of God, we will possibly stop producing wedding certificate. It's going to be wedding Thanksgiving certificate, because the chairman of the convention called my attention to it. Not only that, even child dedication certificate, not birth certificate. So these are some of the corrections that we are going to make before the end of the year by the grace of God.
Thank you very much. So it does not contradict the legal aspect. Well, I know this question will come. What about destination weddings, beach or garden? And those our children who are doing now, they are supporting it. I said, after all, the first wedding took place in the Garden of Eden. All right. It's a recent development. But want to ask, why are you running away from the church? We have witnessed, at least I've witnessed two now. It is not our church that organized it. I've discovered that there's nothing solemn about it. There's nothing solemn about that garden wedding. Where you suffer more, the son will beat you. You don't have the attention of the couple. They'll just be talking and gisting, and their friends will be coming, and you cannot be shouting. So we have discussed that in the church council, and we have said for now, we've not yet understood garden wedding or destination wedding. I'm not saying it is not, because never say never. But for now, we have not understood it. And then we will not be a partaker. We can do a wedding here of when some years ago, 1995, 96, a wedding took place at Gateway Baptist Church. That night, we did a recording of a music overnight in Reverend A. Alade's house. I was still sleeping by 6:30 to go back to the house in the morning. When Reverend Alade, in his pastorium, we did the recording in pastorium. When he sent somebody to me and said, I should bring the keyboard to the church, there's a wedding. I have not brushed my teeth, I have not done anything. By the time I counted how many of us were in the church, we were no more than 12. That wedding is still standing to today. As a matter of fact, the man is a pastor now. 12. We were 12, I counted. So there's nothing that says, why carry your wedding to a place? For a couple based abroad, they did their wedding abroad. Can they come home to do their church wedding? Why not? Last Saturday, the wedding from Abuja, one of the young one flew in from UK. The other one, the lady, was from the US. And we did the wedding here. We did everything that needed to be done. So why not? Why not? So anybody living abroad, it does not say you should not. There are ways around it. All right? Oh, if they are already married there, if they are coming, it is just blessing. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. It is just marriage, blessing. Okay, sorry, thank you for calling my attention. Is it compulsory to have best lady or best man or a bridal train? No, it's not compulsory. It is just a drama. It is just ceremony. So you don't need to have best lady, best man. Just the two of you. we do the wedding and it's going to be all right. So, nothing has been said about remarrying of widows and widowers. Well, in brief, if somebody is a widow or a widower, there's nothing that stops them from remarrying. Nothing stops them because they are free according to the Bible. But you still have to carry the church along if we are going to be a partaker. So there's nothing that says they should not remarry. But the church will be interested in who are you remarrying? What is your status? If you have done the normal wedding, have you dissolved the first one legally? And things like that. Those are the things. So nothing stops them. Garden wedding, we have addressed that. Is there a marriage committee in this church? No, we don't have yet. Sir, what can church do as regards single father who wants to remarry? How single is that single? So somebody can be a single father who was legally married before. So what happened to the first wife? We want to know. Was it separation or divorce or death? We want to know. Or somebody who just fathered a child and not yet married, you cannot be talking about remarrying. Ad initio, the person is not even married before. So we want to know, because we have to look at each on his own merit. Is there controversy on the genotype like AS and AS? What happened to the wedding during counseling? Oh, if there is controversy, there will be advice to withdraw. My own advice will be, don't go into this marriage. Don't go. Well, these days, our children, they know more than us. We have had AS. They say, well, what they are going to do is that they will do selective clinical. Well, God helps you. But me, I am still old school. God will deliver us from the problems that will come when AS marries AS, and you cannot select. I don't know, medically, don't let me talk. Doctors are here. If it is possible to select the genotype of your children, fine. Technology has helped you. But if it's going to be natural conception, God helps you, the type of child that will come. But for me, if I see AS, I will remove my hand. I will let you know that I cannot go, I cannot bear it. I cannot bear you getting married and then all you do all your life is taking care of one child with everything that you have. So these days, we should not be having that. What is the position of the church regarding virginity before wedding? Before wedding is conducted? Yes, our belief is that the woman should remain a virgin. But we know that it is not usually so. We know that it is not usually so. All right? It's a virtue that we must keep. But before many people come to realize what is the meaning of life, they have been sexually involved. But after you have given your life to Christ and you are properly born again, we don't expect premarital sex. We don't expect premarital sex. It should be after marriage. After marriage. So we still respect virginity, and God honors those who marry as virgins. But if it happens that before marriage or whatever, you have been sexually involved, the moment you come to Jesus and surrender your life, all things have passed away. You are not supposed to go back to your sin. So, and then nobody will crucify you because it's between you and your God. And we don't conduct a virginity test. There's no way for us to know. So, even sometimes, the one we conduct on Saturday, usually we ask, maybe when we are talking about sexual issues, we do ask them, have you had sex? Sometimes a couple will say, they will tell the truth. And then we ask them, ask God for forgiveness, because it may haunt you. It may haunt the two of you inside marriage. And there and then. So it's an opportunity for them to rededicate their lives to Christ before wedding. So, in assumption, if one of the couple carried out a test and one of the medical tests such as HIV or hepatitis medical test is positive, and the date of the wedding have been chosen and announced, what can they do? If the couple say they will marry even we will call the parents. I think we need to involve the parents and ask them, especially on the issue of genotype, because if you have seen the agony of sickle cell, you will not wish it for your enemy. You will not wish it for your enemy. You will not wish it for your enemy. A child that you cannot help when that child is in pain, you can't take over the pain. So why go into it? What is it? What is it? Sir, a peculiarity with our tradition is that a wedding ceremony should take place in the church of the bride. However, where the church of the bride is not licensed, what can be done? Well, I think it's just cultural. When we were in the East, many of the weddings we did in our church were not, in fact, most of the ladies were from other churches. And the weddings were conducted in our church. So I think it depends, it's very from locality to locality. But we just thought that, well, for a father and a mother who has taken care of a girl, they have spent money, it is the honor to do it in the church but it is not a rule. If there's an agreement between both families, it is really not a rule. So if the family of the bride agrees, we should honor and appreciate that family. We should appreciate that family. So it's not a rule. Will marriage at a non-believer be recognized by the church? Will marriage to a non-believer be recognized by the church? Is church wedding legal enough for divorce and legal assurance? These are different areas. I will not attempt the second one because I don't want to be saying what is not true. But the first one, marriage to a non-believer recognized by the church. See, any marriage is recognized by God. Every marriage is recognized by who? God. If you are an Ifa worshiper and you marry a good worshiper, as far as God is concerned, you are married. As far as God is concerned, you are married. If you are a Christian among us and you marry the daughter of a Babalawo, and the Babalawo insists that you must come and do the wedding in the shrine, if you go and you do it and you come, you are married. And you will bear the consequences. That is just the difference. You are married. Oh, don't tell me, because we did it in the shrine. We will not listen. You are married, as far as we are concerned. Can an unmarried wife and husband hold a legal marriage in the church after 3 children? Yes. What that requires is just registry. We witnessed that a lot when we were in Aba. Many people who met in Aba and they just started living together, or they did their traditional wedding halfway. They didn't complete it, and before you know it, first child, second child, third child, and the children are growing. One of the things I called them one day that those who are interested in legalizing them, and I think we did 12 in one day. 12. So I sent them to the registry. They filled a different kind of form just to legalize their marriage. By the time they were living together, they didn't know better. And of course, that day they were happy. The children were happy. It was a very good day in the church that day. So it protects the children, it protects first the wife, and of course it protects the man too. So it is possible. Thank you. Are there exceptions if when notification is not before 3 months? Are there exceptions if what you cannot do wedding no Gigi? Somebody say if they have not notified the pastor before 3 months, did you just pick that person on the street and say follow me to the pastor? We must marry today? I don't think such things are emergency. I don't know, Abi. There are no emergency. That 3 months helps us to look at the church calendar, because I won't cancel a normal church program for any wedding. Even me as a pastor, I cannot put any personal or family program when a church has a program. I can't do that. The church is bigger than me. So we do that so that we have a convenient time. You will not disrupt the church program. That is the reason for that 3 months. Can a sister who is already pregnant still come to church for marriage? Yes, we will do marriage blessing, but not, just like I said, it's not going to be open. That one happened when we were in Aba. We just discovered that this lady was pregnant. They didn't tell us. We discovered the last day we were doing counseling. I just asked a question. Have you been sleeping together? I just noticed that their eyes dropped. I said, something has happened. So they told me. And I called the pastor of First Baptist Church. Then I was not ordained and whatever. And the pastor said, Pastor, there's no problem. And what we did that day was that she wouldn't wear white. She wouldn't veil. There's no procession. Even at that time, I think they were doing wedding on Sunday before I changed it. So, and when it was time for them to be joined, we took them to my office. So it was inside the office that Reverend Okere joined them. And after that, they came out. It was not done in the open. So, I'm saying that if a mistake has been made, we will correct it. Don't write off yourself. And it does not mean that your marriage will not be sweet. And God has forgiven you. Engagement on the day of wedding, most of the time, causes lateness to the church. Please address. It depends on the family and the individual who are involved. We did our engagement on that morning. By God's grace, on that Saturday, we didn't get late to the church. As a matter of fact, my father was the timekeeper. Looking at the time and the rest of them. And that's the problem with Alaga Duro, Alaga Bere. So, when you go and call Alaga Duro, Alaga Bere, that will spend 6 hours, what are they doing? What are they doing? Sorry, that's why many times I don't attend engagement, because you don't know what you are going to meet there. I'm sorry. I have not liked that kind of traditional wedding from childhood. When we were young, 5, 6 years, 7 years, I saw some of our uncles. We traveled to Igono. They will say the track, whatever, we start by 12. They will not start until 4 p.m. They will now end it by 12. From childhood, I told myself, when I'm going to get married, my traditional wedding will be that morning. So nobody, and as you are wasting time, I will stand up and walk away. Yes, I will walk away from that place to the church. And the same thing, God so good, the wife I married had the same mindset. The same mindset. So we agreed. We did at Bodija here that morning. We were not late to the church, Gateway Baptist Church. All right? So it depends on the couple. You are going somewhere. All this, it's just drama, African magic. So, don't let us, many times we overemphasize the package. Then the substance itself, we lose sight of it. That's the problem of our children these days. If one of the intending couples is tested positive for any of the infectious disease, what will the pastor do? We hold a meeting. We start with the couple, and then from them we know who and who we are going to involve. We talk to them. This has happened, it has been discovered. But it may cause distrust. It may cause disaffection. Why don't you tell me this before we pick the date? It could be a man, it could be a woman. Why don't we tell the whole truth? Because it will look like a trap. The other one say, you know who you are. You only trapped me. So that's why we will do a meeting. The pastor has no power. But when I know that it is dangerous, I will extend it beyond the two. Let's call the parents and those who need to hear about it. Let them make their decisions. When it is very clear to the pastor that the couple is deceiving themselves and that one is already married with children and not yet legally married, divorced, will they still continue with the wedding? Well, what you don't tell the pastor cannot know. Many of these things are not, there are things God can correct if we are sincere, if we are truthful. God will not cut off your head. He just wants a repentant heart. That's all. You can live your life if you are sincere to God. He does not condemn you if you have confessed. So it does not. So if we know, we talk about it and we ask if the other fellow is comfortable. Comfortable. If you are not comfortable, please back out. If in the course of counseling you discover a danger ahead, especially for the bride, will you still go ahead? That's why I say almost the same thing. We hold a meeting, and they and the family will please reconsider the time, re-answer the time of this writing. I cannot decipher this one. Medical tests should be done before counseling, not when the couple are already agreed. Normally, they should do that. The moment the moment you are proposing to somebody as a man, or a man has proposed to you, the next set of questions before you fall in love, number one, are you born again? Tell me your salvation experience. After that, tell me your genotype. If you are not satisfied, go to a laboratory together and watch your vote, like they will tell us at the polling booth, so that it will not be manipulated. You have to be sure. As a matter of fact, it is not the church's problem. It is the problem between the two of you. You should have settled all those and be able to know that you are telling the truth one to another before you approach the church. So, but if we see it, we will pause a little and ask you to clarify those things if you are ready to carry the cross. If somebody has given birth before and he hasn't do wedding, can they still do wedding? Yes, we talk about it. We have answered it. Depends on your sincerity to yourself, to God, and to that person. Please, will the church put into consideration a quick wedding after church service, especially for a couple who don't want a bridal train, want a simple wedding without any more than vows, prayers, and in the church service already done? Well, it depends on what we are doing, but we will have gone through. We make sure that you follow the due process. We can do it after wedding, after Sunday. If there's no meeting or whatever, we look at the church calendar, but we'll have followed the due process, and we allow those who do fellowship after fellowship to go, and then we'll do the wedding. So that when we are asked, when we are queried, Pastor, do you know about this? I can say, I know about it. If somebody has given birth, no, I've answered this one. Sorry, Please, I assume the presentation focus on ladies from Baptist churches. What about men, brothers who will bring his wife from outside the Baptist church? How can such person control where the wedding will take place? If the wife to be request for registry, well, if the church you are going, if they agree, we are only talking about our own church. So you are the one who have chosen that person to marry. And if the person says you are going to do marriage under the water, you have to go. Because when we are looking for something, we go to any length. In a situation of separation from one former spouse, can the single father, mother go on to marry another person without legally? No. It's not a matter for today, but it's deeper than this. If there's a separation or divorce, we have to look at it as a church. We will dig into it. You can't just bring somebody into your house, and then if you are worshiping and you are not serving anywhere, we treat you as a worshiper. But if you are going to be a part of us, You will be an usher, you will be in the choir, you will even sweep the floor. We are interested in your marriage. We are interested in your marriage. Thank you very much. 2 people. Okay, Sister Toyin. Can the church organize a virtual wedding for people? That one is difficult. So, I need to know who is playing the drum on the other side. Abi? I need to know who is playing the drum. Apart from the couple, somebody must be playing the drum for them and they are dancing. It's a complex one. It's a complex one. I don't know. I know we do traditional wedding online now. We put the picture down and whatever. And that's why at the end of the day, if a pastor does it, don't blame the pastor for whatever comes out. The parents should be ready to take responsibility for what they are consenting to in the lives of their children. Pastor cannot say, don't get married. It's a technical one. But we will look into it and see how we come out of it. All right. Marriage registry requests for 21 days display of the couple before the day of signing the certificate. Is there such thing in the church wedding? I don't understand. We have stated it. These 21 days precede we won't go ahead to do a wedding without the certificate from the registry. We won't do that. Do you have a microphone? All right. Really.
Okay, it's a comment and maybe a contribution to those concerned. When you raised the issue of 21 days notice, I commented where I was that if it was effective over the years, we shouldn't have people falling prey to getting married to those who are already married and they never knew until they got into it. So to those maybe to law enforcement, I think my suggestion is beyond putting it on their notice board within the court premises where nobody will see it. Somebody jokingly said, I didn't even see my own. So they put it on their notice board. Anybody may never see it. That's brother something and sister something are getting married. I know in some quarters they publish it in the papers that this wedding will be holding. If it goes that viral, I think it will reduce the rates at which people fall prey to getting married to those who are already married and they never knew. I've had cases that she was already in it before she knew she was a second wife. She didn't know. So I think, and that's why I said it's a contribution to the people concerned. Please, whatever can be done. Like the last question, I think that's what the person is trying to say to, can even the church publish it that so and so person will be, like a notice too, will be getting, maybe on the church notice board too or something, will be getting married so that it can be made more public and then will reduce the rate at which people fall prey and victim to this kind of weddings.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. And that's where families also should be carried along. Thank God for our fathers in those days. If somebody wants to get married, they do background check. We don't do background check again. And then because, families, many of these things are still in our hands. So thank you, church, for your time. We appreciate you.